Welcome, welcome. I'm your host, Brian Halley, and you're listening to the Brandstanding Podcast. I'm excited to help you unlock the magic of brand strategy to supercharge your business in a way that's practical, easy, and fun. So let's dive in. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is Brian Halley, and I am here with my wife and co-host, the most intelligent Emily Halley.
Wow, I sound great. I sound great. You guys are so lucky to have me here.
Welcome back, listeners. We are going over some great things today, and I'm going to start it off by just asking, have you ever walked into a space and felt instantly calm or energized because of the colors around you?
Yeah, I have.
Have you?
I have.
Anything
yes.
specific?
Well, I just think of how refreshing it is to walk into like a really clean white space with not a lot of bright colors. For me, it feels so calming and like it's stress relieving.
Yeah.
You know, especially if the space is minimalist, uncluttered, clean. And like, there's definitely a difference between walking into a place like that and walking into like a toy store or something that just has like
a little more chaos to it. Yeah.
All the colors and everything.
I feel that way every time I walk into a Jamba Juice. There's this fresh feeling. I feel like I'm in a garden of fruit where fruits hang out.
In the smoothie.
Yeah. I just feel happy.
Nice.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, today we are going to be talking about color psychology and how color can help evoke feelings. So think about all of the ways that we use color, even in language. Mm-hmm. Like when we're sad, we say that we feel blue. And when we're angry, we say we're seeing red. You might describe someone as green with envy or yellow-bellied coward.
Yeah.
So we have colors already built in to the words we say to try to convey emotions. And so today that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. We'll dive in a little bit of the psychology of it. And you're probably wondering, really? Color can do all that? Uh-huh. Yeah, absolutely. It just affects the way that we feel, and how we use it in branding can really help shape brand perception. And by the end of this podcast, we hope you see that and get a lot of stuff out of it.
Yeah, it's a powerful tool. So this is what we're going to cover today. We're going to go over the meaning behind different colors, how colors evoke emotions and influence brand perception, tips for how to choose colors based on your archetype. And then we're going to do some examples of companies that have really done a good job at their color palette choice.
Excellent. And so to begin, our brains recognize color first, then shape, and then fonts or typography.
Like the words.
Yeah, so color matters. Color is a brand's silent ambassador, influencing the trust you have, the emotion, and even the sales in your company.
Okay, so let's talk about the meaning of colors and what their emotional impact is. We're going to start with red. Red is bold and passionate and energetic. And psychologically, it affects us by increasing our heart rate. It tends to help us feel like we have a sense of urgency. It can stimulate appetite. So reds are good for like fast food restaurants, retail, sports, anything that's high energy. Brand examples that have a lot of red in them are Coca-Cola and Target and Netflix.
Next color we want to touch on is blue. Blue is trustworthy. It has calmness to it, depending on what you're using it for. It also has a very professional feeling. It creates a sense of security. Some examples are IBM, Visa, and Facebook. Blues work well with financial companies, healthcare, tech companies, corporate brands, not limited to these at all, but blue is really a powerhouse color.
Awesome. Okay, the next one is yellow. Yellow is cheerful, optimistic, and attention grabbing. So psychologically, it encourages positivity, creativity, and happiness. Yellow is really great for child-focused brands, also used a lot in fast food, sometimes in some lifestyle brands. So examples are McDonald's and Snapchat and IKEA.
Yeah, I think nature uses it in the banana.
Yes, it does.
Oh, there you go.
Bananas must want to make us happy.
All right. Green is next up. It's natural and fresh, growth oriented. It's associated with nature, health, and wealth. It's best for organic companies or wellness, environmentally based companies, financial brands. Examples include Whole Foods, Starbucks, and John Deere.
Okay, next color is black. Black is elegant, sophisticated, and powerful. So those are the emotions that black tends to make people feel. Psychologically, they suggest luxury, exclusivity, and professionalism. So blacks are really great for high-end brands, like in fashion or technology. Examples are Chanel, Nike, and Apple.
That's great. I also see black when you want a scarier, frightening feel. Depends what you're doing, whether
Yes.
brand or
if it's
movie.
Halloween or not.
Halloween, exactly. All right. Next up, we're talking about purple. Purple represents royalty, mystery. It represents creativity, wisdom, and luxury. It's best for beauty companies, wellness companies, spirituality, premium brands. Good brand examples are Cadbury, Hallmark, Twitch.
Yeah, purple's interesting because like it has such a long history of being an expensive color to own.
Yeah.
You know, it was so expensive to the process of making purple dye in the Middle Ages that it just kept being associated even down into our time.
Yeah, and it's
That
rare.
it is associated
it's rare.
with royalty.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, next is orange. Orange is energetic, playful, and friendly. And psychologically, it encourages enthusiasm, fun, and confidence. It's best for adventure brands, entertainment, food, and brands that are youthful. Examples are Fanta. That's a good one. Fanta orange. Harley Davidson uses some orange, and Nickelodeon.
Excellent. Yeah. Next up is white, which is the absence of color. Clean, minimalist, and pure. Probably the color of the room you described earlier, Emily.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the psychology behind it is simplicity, freshness, transparency. It's best for brands in the tech industry, health, modern brands. An example of this is Apple. Excellent use of white space.
Okay, and then finally brown. Brown is earthy, reliable, and rustic. And psychologically, it suggests warmth, dependability, and tradition. It is best for outdoor brands, handcrafted brands, some types of foods that are naturally brown, like coffee, chocolate, things like that. Brand examples are Hershey's, UPS, and Cracker Barrel.
Excellent. Those are the basic colors. Now we're going to go into the archetypes and match colors to the different archetypal stories.
Yeah, sounds good. So if we start with the innocent archetype, remember how the idea behind the innocent story was this desire for purity, for optimism, to spread joy. And in order to get people to feel these things, whites are a really good color for the innocent because whites are pure.
Yeah.
They
Not a lot
automatically
mixed into it.
Right. They suggest that idea already. Light blues are also very calming. Probably, I would imagine, because they have to do with like the sky and water.
Calm.
Kind of, calm.
Rejuvenating.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, tied to nature. I also think certain leafy greens, like the new green of grass in the spring.
Okay.
That like rebirth
That brighter
type of a feeling. Eco-friendly companies use that color a lot. Pastels also. So if you take any standard color and add white to it so that it gets lighter, any kind of pastel would work for the innocent. I almost wondered too, we talked about how like yellow is an optimistic color. So maybe like a sunny yellow could work if it's not too powerful. But as part of the color scheme, probably would work for an innocent.
The next one I'm going to talk about is the Explorer. And the Explorer is adventurous and bold. It's about being out there in the world, discovering things. So you use earth tones and deep greens, navy. You see Patagonia with these colors, North Face, REI. There's a lot of different ones. But I've also done Explorer brands that are like travel companies. And so then you can use the tropical colors and get a little bit more brighter. So it does depend on what the company is.
What your product is.
Yeah, what your product and who your audience is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's the Explorer.
Okay. The Sage story is about being knowledgeable and wise. And you can suggest these feelings with certain colors, in particular deep blues, grays, and muted tones. I like to think of it as like how a sage person wouldn't necessarily want to try to be flashy. So color is subdued. It's sophisticated. It's not trying to overtake the message or the words or the knowledge that's being conveyed, not trying to attract too much attention to itself.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think maroons, burgundies, navies are really good choices for the sage. Maybe like dark olive.
Yeah.
When you think of like Harvard or the Smithsonian or places like that.
Yeah, scientific companies, et cetera, are they're about the data. They're about solving these things. They don't need to be distracted in a different direction. I think we did do a robotics company, and we did put orange in it.
Yeah,
it wasn't super bright.
Good, that's a good point.
But it represented innovation. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we included orange because we wanted to get across that like the technology aspect, the creativity part of innovation, of creating something out of the knowledge that you've gained, suggests that. And like Google is the ultimate sage company, and Google is red and blue and yellow.
They got some pretty bold colors.
Yeah, they do. Leapfrog, like a little kid's brand, they're a brighter green. So you can definitely play with the colors. Like the ones that we're suggesting are
guidelines.
They're colors that are psychologically embedded in our minds already, but you can always play with that too.
Yeah. And then I'm going to go into the hero next.
Okay.
And that's more strong and determined, a little more powerful. So you want to use reds, blacks, bold primary colors to get across that strength. That's what you're trying to convey as strength. Now, with the hero, you probably don't want to get into pastels because it's going to come across as being too soft.
Right, yeah. You definitely wouldn't want to use those. I think you can go at the hero in a couple different ways. Like I think of the military and how they use more earthy colors, sometimes gritty. But also there could be kind of the superhero vibe to the hero, and you could use complementary colors like blues with yellows. Yep. They create that contrast.
Yep.
Yeah, both of those suggest hero. Okay, the next one is the outlaw, and the outlaw is rebellious and edgy.
I don't care what color they use. I'm just
So for the outlaw, um, yeah, this one's interesting because sometimes outlaw is associated with patriotic colors. Sometimes you could use grittier colors, don't you think?
Yeah. And textures. So when
And
in your
textures.
textures, you're going to get a mixture of colors.
Uh-huh.
And I could see an outlaw brown that deliberately goes against color harmony so they can feel it even in
Oh,
the
like
colors.
making colors
Like
clash.
those don't go together. And you're like,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. Good.
Harley Davidson is a good example. The next one is the Magician brand. That's the innovator, the visionary. And for that, we usually hang out in purples, silvers, mystical blues.
Yeah, I think like peacock colors,
Yeah,
you know
that's
how
a
they're
good
like
way.
almost iridescent? They have kind of a magical shimmery quality to them.
I remember once we used magician colors on a comedy show
Hmm.
that we were branding, and it just didn't feel right. We should have been in the jester world, but we put these purples and silvers and peacock colors, but something was off. The colors aren't matching this comedy. So,
That's
yeah.
funny. All right. Okay, the next one is the everyman. And the everyman is friendly and relatable. Um, so you're going to want to use understated, kind of boring colors.
I don't,
Yeah, browns, maybe some dusty blues.
not too elegant, not too super
Yeah.
extravagant.
The Home Depot uses kind of like a construction cone orange.
Yeah, because it's friendly and relatable. It's
And it's the construction
and the
worker color. That's what they wear.
yeah.
They would be an everyman type of job.
Next is the lover. You see it every Valentine's Day. Everything's romantic and passionate, and then you're going to get your reds, your pinks, your golds. You still could pull in some beautiful purples to get some variety, but reds and pinks are definitely the colors of romance and passion.
Yes. Okay, the jester is the next one, and the jester is fun and playful. So, to help with this, you're going to want to use like happy, playful colors like bright oranges, bright yellows, maybe some purples.
Mm-hmm.
M&Ms are a good example because they have multiple colors on their candies. That's fun.
They make you happy. I
Yeah.
like M&Ms. All right. Next is the caregiver. The caregiver is compassionate and nurturing, and good colors are muted greens, blues.
If you start with a pure tone and you add white to it, you get pastels, right? But if you add gray to pure colors like blue or red or green or yellow, if you add gray to them, you get more into the caregiver color palette, like dusty rose, dusty green, dusty purples. They're cozy.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the ruler brand. The ruler brand does have power and strength like the hero, but it's more refined. So you can use blacks, golds, deep purples. Think of Rolex and other high-end brands. Ruler customers expect great art, design, environment. So choose your colors mindfully. These have to be just perfect.
Yeah, and I think color would probably be used sparingly.
Yeah.
Or at least intentionally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then the last one is the creator. And the creator is artistic and expressive. So this one gets to have the most fun with playing with color palettes. You could use bold and unique colors in the creator. You could use all the colors in creator. We were asked, actually, one of our listeners asked us how we chose the colors for our Brandstanding logo.
And that's what sits behind us if you're watching this video on YouTube or the podcast on YouTube. But our colors have blues, reds, and
Yellow?
yellow in there. And so the yellow is creativity. We want it to be a little more bright. The red having more energy to it. We wanted that to be a part of it. And the blue,
I like our blue because it feels like it's like an energetic blue.
and it's an approachable blue. We wanted to be approachable ourselves. I think that's what the podcast is about. We want business owners to feel like they can talk to us and we're not too stuffy and you can chat with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think using the primary colors is symbolic of the creator. Yeah, I feel like our logo looks like a little kid just had so much fun with their markers. And they're like, I want to make every letter a different color.
Oh, man. And yeah. So I would say that was a good color choice.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. And other companies have good color choices. Emily, what are a few examples we could share?
Okay, so Coca-Cola uses red. And this creates urgency. Hopefully you will want to purchase their product as fast as you can and drink it as fast as you can, I guess. It stimulates your appetite. Red is a really great color for foods, for painting restaurants.
It's the most memorable.
It's going to pop out on the shelf.
Red is the way to go.
Let's see, Starbucks. Starbucks has got the green, and that aligns with sustainability and calmness, which you feel when you walk in. I feel calm. I got no beef with greens, right? It's just chill in there. I'll chill with you.
Yeah. And the sustainability, I think, aligns with the Explorer values and also like their tie to nature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tiffany and Company uses a robin's egg blue, which is so unique in the industry, recognizable, conveys luxury.
I'm glad you said that it's unique and recognizable. That's what we really try hard to do when choosing a color palette. We want to own that unique color. T-Mobile pink is what comes to mind right now.
So if I were to guess, and I don't know the Tiffany brand too well, but I would guess that they're a ruler. And having a unique color would be especially important, I think, for a ruler brand because you want to be distinctive. You want to make sure that you're not like everybody else.
And usually the wealthy, they want that unique experience.
And by carrying around a piece of jewelry in that color of a box, it says something about you that you were able to own that color.
Anything in the store you can own. In fact, I think they sell the boxes on eBay and stuff for like super exorbitant prices just to own the box with nothing in it.
Oh, that's kind of cheating.
I'm walking around with the box. They think something's in it. That's powerful brand.
That sounds like something like 7th grade you would do.
Oh, man. What did I do? Drove around
with a fake cell phone.
It was the box cell phone back in the day, and I would hold it up to my ear with a cord on it.
Pretend like you're talking.
Pretend like I'm talking.
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to be cool so bad.
You wanted to be cool so bad.
Yeah.
FedEx has purple and orange, which is a great combo for a hero brand. Mm-hmm. It kind of blends those contrasting colors, create that sense of trust that they're going to save the day, and that they're creative and that they're urgent. All of that is suggested in their brand.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm going to talk about Tiffany's and Company's brand color again. This will lead right into what we want to talk about next, is the importance of color consistency. According to University of Loyola, Maryland, color increases brand recognition by up to 80%.
Wow.
That's why you want it unique. That's why you want to own a color. That's why you want to own it. When people see your brand's color, they should instantly recognize it, whether it's on a billboard, website, product, or packaging, right? And there's also the opposite side.
So if you're using inconsistent colors,
yes,
then customers don't have that opportunity to recognize the color, right? Like you're missing out on that really valuable piece, super valuable piece. 80% of brand recognition is color.
And because they've gotten used to you. You have spent time, money, equity, everything in building this story and spending so much time on your brand, and then it changes. And people see it, even if it's a slight color change, which I saw that in the Butterfinger candy bar, which they had the original recipe. It had like it had more cyan mixed in with the yellow. So it was like a darker
Yeah, it was kind of more of a
yellow.
golden yellow.
And it felt calm. It felt good. It felt like peanut butter was in there and that crunch. And then they changed the recipe and then made it that brighter yellow. I thought it was a printing mistake.
Yeah.
I literally thought, and so when I eat it now, I'm like, it's
not the same.
It's not the same. It tastes different almost because there's not enough ink on that packaging. There's probably not enough ingredients in that candy bar.
They must have left out some of the peanut butter.
Both of the things.
That's funny.
So consistency, yeah, and not being. So there's ways and techniques that we use as designers to make sure that stays consistent. And so I'm going to cover what these are. And I don't want this to get into a design lesson or anything, but I'm going to say some letters here. It's going to be like, what are you talking about? Okay. RGB versus CMYK. What does that mean? Okay. RGB is red, green, and blue. And you just shorten, it's red, green, blue, RGB versus CMYK, which is cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. They don't use B for black. They use K.
It's not be confused with blue, probably.
Yeah, that's probably. So RGB color is used in digital applications. It mixes red, green, and blue together on screens using light as the white in the mixing process. You'll see that on a television, iPad, your cell phone, tablets. That's where you will see the red, green, blue. It mixes
in the different like pixels.
If you take a drop of water and drop it on your iPad or your cell phone, it acts as a magnifying, and you can see all the pixels. When we switch to CMYK, that's built on cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And they're using those four colors to mix and make all the colors in printed material. And instead of using light from digital, they're using white paper. Since light is brighter than paper, CMYK will be a little bit more dull or print a little bit different.
So as a designer then, how do you go about trying to figure out how the CMYK color would look the same as the RGB color?
You can get close.
You can get close.
Can you ever get a true match on every screen, every piece of paper? The answer is no, because people set their settings differently on their screens. Different phones have different ways to show things, and printers set things differently. But you can get close. And a way to get close is to use the Pantone matching system. And it's the gold standard for color matching. And it's a universal system in branding to ensure the exact color reproduction across different materials and locations. So if you're printing at different places in the country or in the world, if you say, I am Pantone 485, that is a red that exists no matter what. And I say 485 because I believe we use that at Jelly Belly. Jelly Belly was 485 and 100% yellow. That's the two colors. And you assign those, and the printers know what that means, so it will be the same everywhere.
So why can't they print the same with CMYK? Why the difference?
Because it's the mix. So you know how all the colors mixed together is black? Mm-hmm. So if you're using cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, when those come together, they're not going to be as bright. They're going to get a little bit muddied.
Okay.
And they can't keep that vibrance on that white paper.
Like a Pantone could.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're just putting one single red down over a white, and it's just beautiful. It just stays. Or the other colors have to mix to get that red, and that's where you get the dull.
Okay.
Okay. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's really powerful. Why they do it is because big brands know the importance of color. If you say color's not important, it doesn't matter if it matches, does it? It does. And like they would fly me at Jelly Belly all around the country. They'd send me in the car all up and down California. I flew to LA, I've been to Canada. just when the printers were ready, when those boxes or bags were coming off the press, they would fly us there at that time. They'd have an 8 o'clock press check in the morning that they're coming off the press, and we would go in with a little magnifying glass, put it over top, and we would look at the colors and make sure it matched something we already had. And once we say that approved, we would say maybe that's too red, maybe it's too dark, maybe it's too light. The printer would dial it back or dial it up till it was perfect. We'd sign it, lock in that color, and they'd print the rest. It was that important to match the colors.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've noticed that every once in a while, when you buy like the bags of mixed fun size candies, every once in a while I'll notice that like, oh, that Snickers brown looks a little off from the other Snickers that are in this bag.
Yes, it's because there might not have been a press check. It could have been a bad batch on the printer. So it's not going to happen all the time, but it can happen. It alters a little bit.
That's funny.
That's funny. It's funny you notice it. That's great.
I still eat them though.
Yeah. And there are millions of social media posts that are shared daily. That's a lot. And you need to make sure color is used consistently. I just had to fix this on one of my projects this week. I had to set a standard and templates for social media colors. I had some students were posting for one of our companies and they were using the style guide. They had the colors right, but they were using all the brand colors all at the same time. And so I told them about making sure you only emphasize 2. That'll keep the strength of the brand.
Oh, so is it because you weren't getting the main color?
Yeah.
That you would remember to be associated with that brand every time?
Yes. It would be like use the T-Mobile style guide. And they have the pink, but they also have a black and purple, these other secondary colors. It would be like using all these colors equally. So when you look down the Instagram page, it wouldn't look like T-Mobile.
Gotcha.
And so I had to like just explain the importance of using that main color.
That makes sense. So you have like primary or main colors versus secondary colors that are just accents or shadows or things like that.
Yeah, because if you have the color everywhere, it's just blah. Like, there's no interest in it. You have to have color of the buttons and the text and stuff. That's secondary colors. Your main color is your main color.
Gotcha. So if you're using all of them equally, you're not getting the benefit of having the color recognition.
Exactly. Okay. Here's a little side tip, final tip. Every business should have a brand style guide. You just need 11 by 17 that shows the approved colors, what the RGB colors are, as well as the hex colors. And the hex colors are RGB colors put into 6 consecutive letters and numbers. So you can put that right into your website. And so when you put those 6 colors in, it identifies the exact RGB color on screen. So you're
kind of like shorthand for it, right?
Yeah. So if you've ever done a template website or they ever ask for that 6-digit number hex color, it's the RGB color they're asking for. And then the CMYK number should be on there, as well as if you have any Pantones. If you get that style guide, that ensures that consistency across all platforms, and more to come on brand style guides in upcoming podcasts.
Something to look forward to.
There you go.
Okay. All right. So our key takeaways today were that colors have psychological impacts and they can help you shape brand perception. If you choose the right color, it will help you reinforce trust, evoke emotion, get across your message. Every brand archetype has certain colors that will enhance its personality, its story. Successful brands will use colors strategically to make a lasting impression. And then make sure that you have your colors listed on your style guide in RGB and hex and CMYK. And then if you're using Pantone, also have those as well. Poor color choices or using colors inconsistently can confuse customers and it will weaken your brand identity and that consistency that you're trying to get across to your customers.
Yeah. And that is it. That's color. That's what we're going to cover today. And did you ever think you would know that much or want to know that much about color? Hopefully it was interesting for you. We encourage listeners to ask themselves now, do your brand's colors match its message? That's always a good thing to do. That concludes this episode on colors and their meanings. Please let us know how we can help you in your brand journey. Let us know what questions you have. If you're finding the content helpful, please subscribe, leave us a review, or rate the podcast. Share it with someone you know. And we have a freebie for you today. And we are going to give you the link to the meaning of color.
Yes.
So that's a PDF. We'll have that in the show notes, and we'll give that to you so you can download what all the colors mean.
Which will be really helpful because then you won't have to listen to this again with a notebook and write them all down.
Yeah, it's just right in front of you. And we've just combined all the different meanings of colors in one sheet of paper. So that's it for today. Join us next week as we continue in the identity phase and take a fun dive into fonts and typography. Until next time, keep dreaming big. My name is Brian Halley.
And I'm Emily Halley. Take care.